Hey guys, welcome to the Blondest podcast. My name's Savanna Boda,
My name's Tyler Jacoby.
and we're so excited because we have some special guests here today. So, we have the Plated Skincare team. We are so excited. This is our newest product line at SBA, and it has been flying off the shelves. I don't even think we've had it for a full month, and I've had like 6 orders. And my reps even had to come bring her car stock to come help us because we've sold out so much of it. And it's just amazing. I'm super excited about it because I did just bring on an ablative laser. So it has been wonderful for us to use post-procedure and just really kickstart those results for anti-aging since I'm diving into more anti-aging stuff in my practice. So I have heard so many things about growth factors, stem cells, exosomes, all of that. So today we're going to get down to the science and meet the people who are behind this amazing product line. So we're going to have you guys introduce yourselves. Hello. Thank you for joining us.
Great to be here.
Awesome. Yes, of course. So we have the CEO today, and then we also have one of the dermatologists who ran all of the clinic tests, right, at the Mayo Clinic for the product.
Yes. Hi, I'm Serenia Wiles. I'm a dermatologist at Mayo Clinic. I also have a regenerative dermatology and skin aging lab. So I was very excited to partner with Rion Aesthetics to launch a lot of these early studies with Plated, and happy to share with you guys about how this new technology, like you said, it's flying off the shelves. It's a very exciting, hot topic right now, and I'm happy to share the science behind the product.
Absolutely.
So, hi, I'm Alyssa Lask. I'm the CEO of Rion Aesthetics, and our flagship brand is Plated Skin Science. Super excited to tell you a little bit more about what we have now and then what the future holds.
Yay, we're so excited. Perfect. Okay, so I think my first question, and either one of you guys can answer or both can answer, why Plated? What drew you guys to creating this product?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, our founders actually worked in the regenerative medicine labs for about 15 years and made this amazing discovery about the power of platelets, and most specifically platelet extract and what that can do to help renew the skin. So really 15 years of work and probably over $150 million in research and development went into this particular product. And we just realized, for a long time, we've been putting chemicals on our skin. We've been putting plant-derived ingredients, and we've never really been able to harness the power, the renewing power of the human body and the ingredients that we could perhaps put into skincare. So that's what we're excited about.
I love that. And I think the coolest thing too is so many people have tried to create stable exosome serums and have not been successful with it. And, just all of the things that you guys have done where it can be, stable on the shelf for 12 months. And I think that's just so amazing. So kind of talk to us, if you can, about the technology behind it and why it's different, and why it's important to have platelet derived instead of the regular getting it from bone marrow or getting it from umbilical cords and all of that.
Yeah, I'll start with a little bit of the story and then I'll let Serenia answer the rest. But so the company is actually named Rion Aesthetics, and part of the name comes from a small town, Rion, an area in Greece that's very remote. And the founders of the company really wanted to be able to bring these type of therapies to anyone, anywhere. And right now, if you think about regenerative medicine, you have to go somewhere. You have to have your blood spun. You have to have a certain storage, and you can't just get it right off the shelf. So that was part of the excitement in coming up with this discovery that we could have something that's shelf stable. And then I'll let Serenia talk a little bit about why we use platelets and some of the science behind it.
Absolutely. And I think the idea that Alyssa brings up is democratizing regenerative medicine, making it available to everybody, right? And the source really matters. So to your question, why platelets versus some of the other sources that you talked about, which are stem cell based? So let's think about manufacturing a little bit, because if we take a step back, the way that exosomes are manufactured isn't your traditional way of making Tylenol or Advil or any serums that you're seeing on the shelf, right? This is biomanufacturing. This means it's a unique product that harnesses the way the human body rejuvenates. So these are human sources. So to make them, we have to have compliant facilities, and then think little bit about how the sources need to be made outside the human body. So for platelets, it's very ideal. These are from US FDA compliant sites, donated platelets that are pooled together. They're processed right away as soon as we receive them. And the proprietary process allows what you point out, that shelf stability, that availability of exosomes, honing to that particular size, batch consistency. So it's stable, accessible, and readily available and processed right away, right? Now compare it to stem cell sources. So mesenchymal stem cells, you mentioned a couple of sources, bone marrow, adipose, umbilical cord. These are great rejuvenating sources in our body. But when we take them outside to make it accessible to others, we have an intermediate step where you have to take it to the lab and expand it and grow it outside the lab. And this could take weeks to months, et cetera, to make it available so that you're collecting the top layer called the media, and then you take the exosomes out. So if you were to think about processing outside the body, that's a long time where the cells can change, where they can become non-native, what's truly natural at the time of collection. And that idea is called senescence. So it's called replicative senescence. The more they divide, they kind of become contact inhibiting, they change who they are. Mm-hmm. And so this is where you kind of have to be cautious after a certain number of passages, we call them, which is the replicative time, that it's not changing truly what it is and truly what it originally started off as. So this is where platelets are ideal, not only because they're a great source, right away rejuvenation, but also because how they can be processed right away.
I love that. And yeah, that's what I've read when I've been reading up on stem cells and things like that, that they can multiply and they can be duplicated and turn into something that it wasn't originally. So I think that is really, for me as an esthetician, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this. And I've worked with other stem cells before, growth factors. I mean, gosh, I remember one of the first products that I had on my bucket list when I got out of esthetician school was the TNS serum, because at that time, 5-6 years ago, that was the product. And it's just so crazy how technology has changed. We've learned so much about different places to get these growth factors, get these exosomes to really change the skin and have it more stable, effective, safe, and ethical. So I'm really
and that's
excited.
the other thing. We're really embracing the name plated comes from the idea that we're getting our source material from platelets. We're trying to be very transparent. There's a lot of companies that hide behind their source material, what it is, where it comes from. We are trying to own that and show that we are going to be ethical in our sourcing, very transparent, and really educate people on what these platelet-derived exosomes can do.
I love that. Awesome. Tyler, do you have any questions?
I'll ask the simple questions. I'm just the best friend as far.
He's so much more. He's like an esthetician by association.
I know what she tells me. So I guess my question is who is it for? What does it do for the skin? Just the basic questions that people may not know.
Yeah. So because the people that listen to this podcast, we have our estheticians, and then we also have just consumers. So I think that's amazing to bring that up so that we can kind of explain why.
Well, that's the great thing about plated, and Serenia can tell you the data from our trials, but we saw improvement in whether someone was younger or someone was up to 80 years old. So that's the exciting thing for us, is that, it really responds to the needs of your skin. And Serenia, I don't know if you want to talk about any of the data specifically, but really anyone.
Absolutely. And we've looked at the data from everybody 18 years old to 85 years old, right? So younger patients versus older patients, what is it doing? And each of their needs are different. So it really targets what you need. So if you're younger, you're excited about prejuvenation, right? You're excited about preventing your skin from aging, all the UV damage, et cetera. Yeah,
rejuvenation.
Exactly.
I love that.
So we could do things like injectables, et cetera. But the product, the plated daily product, is great. I kind of call it like the sunscreen for aging, because it helps target some of the factors, the longevity factors that kind of accumulate when you're start aging. And so when you start using it when you're younger, you kind of help make better collagen, resist the antioxidant, or have more antioxidant power. So you resist oxidative stress and damage from UV. But when you're older, it also kind of turns back time in terms of reversing some of the changes that you've already have sun damage, moderate, severe sun damage. But you're interested in doing these laser treatments, right? I mean, you guys are doing wonderful microneedling, lasers, non-ablative, ablative. So I kind of use it in my practice as a primer too. So in a procedural context, okay, how do you get the most bang for your buck for this type of laser that you're coming in for? Well, prime your skin. I have my patients to use the product for 4 to 6 weeks before they come in for laser, before they come in for their microneedling. So they're already getting kickstart in making new collagen elastin. And then we have the plated calm, which is the post-procedure product. So you have a before and then you have an after, kind of a regimen that complements all the investments that you're doing to get the most of your aesthetic practice.
I love that. And my question, so why 5 to 10 minutes? That's like my wonder question of the day. So for you guys listening, on the back of your product, when you get your plated serum, it will say to wait 5 to 10 minutes before you apply your other products. And they're going to explain to us why that's important and why that's necessary.
So it's really important because we haven't done testing with all the other things that people could put on their skin. And we know that the platelet-derived exosomes like a certain environment. So we really say clean, dry skin. And as soon as it's dry, your product's dry, whether you're in a dry climate, that might be a couple minutes. In a very humid climate, that may take a bit longer. But you want to just make sure it has a chance to absorb.
Okay, so I don't have to wait a full 10 minutes. Like if I feel it and it's in my skin, I'm good to go with my next step.
I've lived in Dallas, and you probably can put it on in a few minutes after it dries. It's very hot and
My
dry
skin
in Dallas.
soaks it in. Yes, I love that. Awesome. Okay, and then if you guys want to kind of explain to us the difference between the three serums for people that are confused between the intense, the daily, and the calm. I know what I tell my patients, but you guys are the best of the best, so I'd love to hear it from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we have 3 different types of serums. One is called Calm. It's designed for post-procedure or prepping before post-procedure. And then we have 2 other serums that are more used longer term. The first is called Intense. That has the highest concentration of our exosomes. So we like to see people start there. And for someone that has more damage, like me, I had a lot of sun damage as a child. I stayed on Intense. For others, they transition off from Intense to the daily. The daily still has a very high number of exosomes. And Serenia can talk about how she used it in her clinical trials and saw results with both the products. But that's typically what we see people are using.
I love that.
Yeah, and the studies really show of how the Intense can kickstart the process. So I say start with the plated Intense for 4 to 6 weeks, because that's when we saw these maximal beautiful results, reduction in redness, reduction in pigmentation, reduction in wrinkles, and in color evenness and a glow. So a lot of the patients saw this like luminous skin, glowing skin. So that happened within 4 to 6 weeks with the twice daily use of the Intense product. So I say if you're looking for that immediate result that can prime the skin, kind of give you these nice reductions, start with Intense, but then you can switch to daily for maintenance. So then you can kind of go to daily, use it however you please, which is once a day or once every other day. But as long as you're integrating it into your skincare regimen, and so kind of going from like this Intense boost then down to daily is a good way to keep up with that regimen. And then you can kind of use it as a boost too. So maybe once a month or once every other month, you would go back on the Intense. So reintroduce that boost of the exosome product and the technology, and then kind of come back to maintenance. So it's a way that you can kind of control it and individualize it to your needs.
I love that. And we've been microneedling with it, and we are loving it for microneedling. And you guys that listen to this podcast, I'm not a fan of PRP. It is so inflammatory, it's dated, and your plasma is only as good as your body and your health, which I'm sure you guys both agree with. So I love that we're getting this source of exosomes instead of using, something from our own body that we don't know if it's good or not. And we do know it does have inflammatory pathways, because when we are treating the skin, we want to, one, of course, reduce inflammation. And so that is what the exosomes do in plated. They help with the inflammation. They help with the downtime. And my clients have loved it. They're like, I'm ready to go, like, do makeup, look fine the next day after microneedling when we incorporate that in their microneedling treatment.
And you're 100% right. When people go and get PRP, they have to spin the blood, right, to produce it, to get the exosomes that they want. And they're spinning the blood at 100,000 Gs. astronauts pass out at 4,000.
Oh, wow.
So you can see why so much gets damaged in the process. And everyone's blood is different every day, and what you get from it, what you eat, what you did. And so this is a way to have consistency.
I love that. Okay, my next question for you guys. Can you explain the difference between, if for someone who has no idea about any of this stuff and they're like, what are exosomes? What are growth factors? What are stem cells? What is the difference between a growth factor, a stem cell, and an exosome?
Dr.
Yeah.
West?
Yep, I can take this one. So this is all falls under this toolkit of regenerative aesthetics, right? So we kind of have this new way of healing the skin, rejuvenating the skin, and there are different players there. Sometimes they complement each other, but there is a category of superseding and, kind of having the best response. So let's start with stem cells because that's where it started, and then where it is now is exosomes. We can talk about the new kid on the block, but stem cells. So there's a lot of different types of stem cells. So when somebody talks about the stem cells, just like exosomes or other peptides, the first question should be, well, what do you mean? Which type do you mean? Because there's bone marrow stem cells, adipose stem cells, which come from the fat. There's umbilical cord stem cells that can be made from your own skin and turn back the time to become more pluripotent stem cells. So really finding the right source. But these are cells, so they have to be manufactured outside, expanded. They have different properties. They can change. There are a lot of clinical trials that are going on that can use them for different indications, but the technology is limited because the idea of accessibility, right, getting it to your patients, is limited by the source. So that's what stem cells are. They have the potential to rejuvenate, and they do a great job when they're in our bodies and help our bodies rejuvenate and rebuild. But when we take them out for repurposing for different uses in patients, there are limitations because of how they're manufactured. Now, if we go to the next category of peptides, growth factors, so these are sometimes synthetically made or naturally processed, and these are building blocks. So they're proteins that you can use to rejuvenate the skin. They're kind of like a little ingredient. So if you're baking a cake, for instance, they're kind of like the baking powder or the flour. They're one part of the message. So while it's important, you also want to make sure it's not too much of that one thing. So if you're trying to, keep adding that one ingredient over and over and over and over, you're going to miss out on everything else that's needed to make the cake, right? So this is where the category of exosomes come in because they've got the full recipe. They are all the signals that a platelet needs to create the message of regenerate or rejuvenate. What does that mean? So an exosome is very simply a letter or a message that cells use to talk to each other. So in that message, they have a lot of different pieces of rejuvenate, regenerate, all the little signals instead of one signal or one growth factor or one peptide. It contains many different types of small signals. So parts to the puzzle, if you will, so that when the message is received, you can put the puzzle together and the full picture is right there of regeneration, rejuvenation, regenerate, etc. So this is the concept that you can actually go from just using, instead of single growth factor, single peptide, you have the full message with the exosome, and it really depends on the source. So not all exosomes are the same, and this is where there can be variability with stem cell exosomes, but the platelet exosomes tend to be the ones that respond with the right regenerative cues, especially in that context of, post-procedure wound acceleration for recovery, all of those things. So there are right signals to kind of create the message of regeneration.
I love that. Okay, and then my question is, so what is the difference from someone that gets something like an exosome from a platelet versus exosomes from other sources? Why does the platelet matter? Why does that make it so different? And why do y'all, I can't talk today, I'm so sorry. Why is that the one y'all chose to go that route?
Yeah, so the story really starts in the heart, where our founders started by looking at cardiac regeneration and looking at mesenchymal stem cells and how they contribute to regeneration. And when they looked into the super responders, so they were people that did far better than the others. And when they looked at their blood, what they actually found, what it was their platelets. There was something in their platelets that the signals that were created were superior, they were better than the other responders. So platelets naturally had this way to kind of make these patients regenerate, respond better to post heart failure. So the other thing is platelets are also the first responders in wound healing. So if we were to get a cut, any injury, platelets come in. I mean, this is the idea that we kind of started to have with PRP and PRF, that platelets had this power to regenerate, but because there's so many I think ways of not capturing the technology correctly with the isolation with PRP or PRF, this is where platelet exosomes actually allow that to be better, because you can have the right message, but it's been isolated and manufactured the right way so that it can be delivered for that skin rejuvenation, compared to a lot of the other sources, which I think lag behind.
I love that. That's awesome. Cool. Okay. And then I think my next question, I'm full of questions for you guys because I am so excited. So, if you not dumb it down, but for someone to understand what exactly is happening in the skin when these exosomes are applied to the face, where are they going? What are they doing? What's happening?
Okay, so when you apply the product to the skin, the platelets so this is what we saw in the study. And I can share the histology, meaning this is how, when we took biopsies from the patients and saw exactly your question, let's look at it under the microscope and
Yes.
see what's happening underneath, right? They're
Yes.
getting absorbed and going to the layer of the dermis. So which is, in our skin, we have the epidermis, the top layer, the dermis, which is underneath. I kind of think of them as cake layers too
Yes.
here. So they go right to the dermis, which is where collagen is made. So it's called the extracellular matrix, elastin, collagen, other factors that kind of create the scaffold of our skin, right? The result, why do we do lasers? Why do we do different procedures? It's all to get that scaffold built back up. So that's exactly where these exosomes are honing to. And I remember being on the microscope and I called one of the founders and said, you're not going to believe this. I'm seeing these little dots on the collagen fibers, and I think they are the exosomes. And he was so excited. I sent him a picture right away, and then now we've kind of looked for stains of these exosomes, and they are there. So they're kind of going to the area of damage. So if they see the collagen fibers are sheared, they attach to it, they release their message, and then they kind of disintegrate. So it's not that they're there and they kind of release their message and then they disintegrate.
So they die.
So
they do what they're supposed to do, and then they die. And then that's why we want to use it every day, twice a day, so that we can have them go in, do their thing, and then pass away, and everything over and over again. Okay. I love that. That's awesome. That's really cool.
My question is how big is Platelets? So this is newer, right?
I think a year to 2 years y'all have been launched, correct?
So we officially launched in September of last year. First, we did a few pilots before that. So it's been about a year we've been on the market.
So how, since this is such a new technology, how big can this get? Are platelets something that's mainly just going to be serum focused, or are there more things that could come down the line in relation to this type of technology?
That is a wonderful question. And we have so many ideas. We actually have to slow ourselves down so we can really stay focused on kind of getting the groundwork and educating people on what these are. I think there's so many charlatans in this industry right now that right now our focus is to raise the science, educate people what exosomes can and can't do. But there's all kinds of things that we can do in the future. Later this year and early next year, we'll have a hair serum to help improve the appearance of thicker, fuller hair.
Oh, perfect. Now I can get pregnant again, because that was my biggest fear about getting pregnant again. I lost so much hair. Oh my gosh, I was balding.
And I think when the appearance of your hair doesn't feel like you want it to, so anything that can help the appearance of thicker, fuller hair is a big deal. And then we're also working on an eye serum, and then we'll be doing with a lot of other ideas, kind of longer term, even kind of adding additional ingredients into the exosome mixture that we have now. But there's so many things that can be done.
I love that. And then my question for you guys. So Plated is the only company that can use platelet-derived exosomes, correct? You guys own that technology. No one else can do it? Or can they do it, but not the exact process that you have?
So our process is patented, and we have IP protection around the way that we process them now. I think given how much research and development we've done, it would be very hard for someone to get anywhere close to where we are now.
I'm so excited for you guys. And I've tried other exosome serums like last year. year before, and a lot of them are smoke and mirrors. So I was really, really impressed because it takes a lot for me to be convinced to bring another skincare line on. But when I read the science behind this, when I personally used it, and then of course too, one of the biggest things for me is seeing people I look up to in the industry. So Rod Rourke did my mom's breast implants way back when, and he is like, very well known, amazing surgeon. And so when I saw he was using it, I was like, he knows like the up and up on stuff. And that when I was like, okay, if he's using it, it has to be good. And that's when I dove deeper to see. And I have been loving it. My patients have been loving it. I've seen a difference. I'm 25 and I saw a difference in my own skin using that for 2 to 3 months. So I call it youth juice. It really is. It's just so good for your skin. And Tyler, you've been loving it too.
Yeah, I actually started on the Calm just because
I was sold out of everything.
Well, but also when she brought it on, it just happened to be the time where she was like demoing and got her new ablative laser. So I'm always her test dummy for any new procedure that she brings on. So I got lasered. So I was like, okay, I'll start with the Calm. And I've been using the daily since. But now that I'm hearing you, I'm thinking I need to do the intensive and then switch to the daily. But
sometimes I like using the Calm too every day because it has a little more hydration. And again, Dallas, I've lived in Dallas too.
Yeah.
It keeps so dry. So, sometimes I'll put the Calm on when I'm in a really dry area because of that extra moisture.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, guys, I know you have to run, but I have one last question for you. So why is daily better for acne prone skin than the intense or the Calm? Because I do see a lot of acne patients and scarring is one of their biggest concerns. And that's where I really feel like exosomes would be so beneficial for them. But I was told, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that daily is more ideal for acne prone skin. So I wanted to see your opinion on that and what you think and why.
Dr. Wiles, do you want to?
Yeah. So for acne prone skin, I think you just want to be cautious of not occluding the pores, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the daily, compared to some like the intense or the Calm, the daily has a little bit more of a hydrating factor that can feel a little heavier too, which is great for some patients. But you just want to, I would kind of lean towards using intense or Calm, and not every day, and kind of complement it to their other acne regimens that are ongoing. So the reason is that we've seen really good it's an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. So all these mechanisms that we've seen with the procedure, we know that it can shift the skin microbiome, which really drives acne, right? We can't make direct comments on, its medical use for acne, but it certainly is showing benefits to it. So I think a product that is making, that's not as occlusive for acne prone skin is going to be the key. But I think to your point, it can be combined really nicely with other products too. Alyssa, do you have other thoughts on that question?
Yeah, I think the intense is a great option. I'd start there. And, these are things we need to continue to study and learn about as it relates to anyone that's more acne prone and what the best answer is for us.
Perfect. Well, I will let you guys know my feedback because I have lots of acne prone patients. So I will let you know what's working the best. But I'm so excited. Do you guys have any closing thoughts or anything that you want to share with us before we hop off?
Well, we're just so excited for your support. You've tried so many brands. So to have you so passionate and just unwavering passion of our product has just been amazing. And thank you for all the introductions and opening so many doors for us. And, we're excited to partner with you in the future as we grow this company and really educate everyone. We appreciate that you love science and you're really helping us educate, because I think that's the most important thing. When there's a lot of charlatans in an industry, it can kind of get brought down, and we really need to make sure people understand the science, understand source material, understand all the things that go into a very sophisticated product like Exosomes.
Yes, and I 100% agree with that statement, because I do think what I've run into is science is advancing every single day and you have to stay up on it. And sometimes I think people are very small-minded about what they thought they know about skincare and science. And so they're like, that can't happen. That's not real. That's a lie. That's snake oil. That can't be a thing. And it's like, once you hear the science and understand, like we're going to space where there's aliens, they confirmed aliens, like anything is possible. And I think that's, where we really run into with some people in the industry that just can't accept that we're advancing and moving forward and that these types of things are possible and they can be done correctly. And I do think, of course, seeing like people fail in the past and things like that obviously deter people, but you guys won. You did it. And you are the company to make this legit, official work and, have all of the patents, all of the science to support it. So I am always going to be here for you guys. I absolutely love it. I'm so excited to see you guys grow even more. And I just have to say, it is awesome to have a woman CEO of a skincare company. That I would just love to see that. It's amazing. So yay, slay.
Yay. And listen, we're excited. I actually was approving our new packaging last week. So you're going to see our new packaging soon. It's going to look amazing. I think just the one thing that's been hard for me is that, the packaging really isn't what I want, but it just takes so long to switch it and do the stability testing. And really, again, we're trying to do high science. We're not just going to put something goop in a jar. And so wait till you see our packaging that'll be out later this year. We're going to do refillable and recyclable.
Wow.
So you won't be just wasting so much, because right now you just throw away all the plastic, all the plastic, and we're going to have a refillable so you can sell both of them. It'll be a little less expensive. So then it won't be, as much as people go. And I think it'll be beautiful and really reflect what's inside the package, which is an amazing skincare product.
We are so excited. I know it's going to be amazing. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. You are absolutely amazing. Any closing thoughts for you?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us. This has been absolutely amazing. And like you said, we're just here to break through the hype versus hope and just starting at the tip of the iceberg now. I think there's still a lot to go and explore, and so happy that you guys are considering, expanding the product and invested in learning more, and happy to keep educating and welcome feedback as well. Thank you.
Yeah, no, let me tell you guys, Savannah, you guys are like the model of Savannah's favorite skincare. The thing about skincare, like anything that is advancing the industry and anything that really is really backed by science, because that's the biggest thing. She has so many companies that come and pitch her and stuff, but they don't have a lot of backing. They don't have,
they're just like, this is great, sell it. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, so it's just like, you guys are really like her dream model of the kind of companies that she loves to work with. Yeah. And like just talking with you guys today, you can really see that you guys are passionate about why it's good and not just that it's good, if that makes sense.
I mean, this is my 3 things I look for. Good people, because there's a lot of companies that have great products but don't have good people. So good people, science, and results driven. That's always my 3 things. And ethics, of course, which you guys have, which I absolutely adore. So yay, we're so excited. And if you guys want to shop Plated, I have it on my website. If you're local, you can come shop in clinic. I now have an affiliate link with Plated as well. So that is in my link in my bio. You guys are going to love it. And like we said, start with intense, then you can move to daily for maintenance. And if you're prepping post or pre-procedure, calm is wonderful. And I even like that one a lot for rosacea and just people that hold more heat in their skin, because it's very cooling. It feels like you're chewing 5 gum, but like for your face. It's amazing. Awesome, guys. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.